At 5 o'clock this morning, I was on day 45 in this thing. And I can assure you my right hand or my left-handed writing has not improved. In fact, there's some days honest to God, I feel like I'm going backwards. It is a mess. But I know, well, it's not all a mess. There's a couple of letters that I'll get not too bad. But this is what you got to write. I am so happy and grateful now that I realize my spiritual DNA is perfect, and that perfection is within me. I begin each day looking for areas of my life where I want to see that perfection expressed habitually. And every day when I write that, I thought, why didn't Gina make a shorter sentence? I mean, that's a long one. I do the gratitude, though, with my right hand. I do not use left hand for the gratitude. I want to see what I'm grateful for after I write it. This is, I don't know how many days is Gina here? How many days is this, Gina? For every day, gosh. I thought that's probably what it was. Well, I really believe that if we do this for an entire year, every day, that you're going to be just about as proficient with one hand as you are with the other. We can train ourselves to do anything. Now, I keep saying that, although it doesn't look like it's going to happen. My results are rather sad when I go to write with my left hand. Now, I'm going to go over today a part of what I did yesterday, because I don't think I did it well enough. And it's probably one of the most important lessons in the entire book. I was just talking to Peter at the back, and he was telling me he was listening in on one of the sales calls that Arash was doing. And Arash said, if you experience stress, you don't have the proper mindset. And I agree with that. If you're experiencing stress, you do not have the proper mindset. It's very important we have the proper mindset. So I'm going to go into that. Now, some of you, if you have questions on any of the things, any of the programs we have, we've got a group of coaches here, and they're in the back. I'm having trouble see for the lights. Where are the coaches? Maybe you could cut those lights for a minute, so when people, if they're getting hit by them, just cut them for a few minutes. Can you do that? Hello? Just a second. Could you do that? I mean, yeah, that's better. Thank you. Where are the coaches? Do you want to stand up? Okay. Now, all those people at the back, every one of them can answer the questions that you may have. So don't go wander around with a question in your mind about what we do. Ask one of those people. Now, they're all highly qualified to do this. They've all been working with us for a long time, and they're in training constantly. Every week, they're in training. We personally believe that if you are not in training every week, you're going to level out and then you're going to go backwards. There's a basic law of life, it's create or disintegrate. Now, I was fortunate that I had a very good mentor coming right out the gate. And he told me, he said, you got to study every day. And I said, for how long? He said, forever. That seemed like a long time when I was 26 years old. But, you know, he was so right. I want you to think of the odds of you staying positive if you're not studying. If I say 90% are on the wrong track, I'm being generous. I think it's over. They're not going down the right road. They're struggling. They're giving their best. They're nice people, and they're giving it everything they've got. But they really don't get into studying what we're studying, and that's studying about life, studying about ourselves. So you're surrounded, I don't care where you are, you're surrounded every day with a group of people that just are not making it in a big way. We've got infinite potential. We've got phenomenal mental faculties, and they're not being utilized. You watch the news, it's bad news. Very rarely do you hear good news. There was a good news newspaper here in California way back in the 60s, or the 70s, pardon me, and they went out of business. Nobody would read it. People don't want to read good news. Why do you think the news stations are so profitable? Because they got bad news. And people are in harmony with it. They're attracted to it. So if you're not studying every day, now you don't have to study all day every day, but I study every day. I start off my day studying. 5 o'clock this morning, I was working with my left hand. Now, I have learned by doing this, I've been studying paradigms for a long time, but by doing this exercise, I'm becoming more acutely aware of just what a grip the paradigm has on you. When you start writing with your non-dominant hand, if you don't concentrate on the move that you're making, the pen's going all over the place. It just becomes a mess. It takes constant focus to keep us going in the right direction. We're being inundated with bad news. Now, the lesson I went through, here, we'll take a look. You have a choice. You have a choice. You take a power that's flowing into your consciousness and you go one way or the other. There's a power flowing in, and this is where your attitude begins. Earl Nightingale said attitude was the magic word, and he's so right. Most people really don't understand what attitude is. We talk about positive or negative. It doesn't have to be positive or negative. If we stop and think attitude, there's a power flowing into us, and our conscious mind then forms an idea, a thought, and we send thoughts off into the universe. We impress those thoughts upon our emotional mind. We send a vibration from our emotional mind into the universe. That energy moves into the body and causes the body to move. So it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions being expressed. That's your attitude. We can have a phenomenal attitude. When we're on the wrong track, if we have a bad attitude, just shift it a little bit and everything changes. But it's a strange thing when a person has a bad attitude, they just seem to want to stay there. They really don't want to get out of it. They're taking a certain amount of joy in it, I think. And it's not doing us any good. Now look it. We have a choice. We can go one way or another. It's very easy to get knocked off course. And when we do, understand you're working with the central nervous system. The central nervous system is, without question, the most complex electrical system known to man. It would make the supercomputer look like an absolute toy. And it's running through every fiber of our being. Your electrical system works at warp speed. So when that power flows in, you take a look at your results, or if you take a look at something that's concerning you, maybe there's a lack of money or a lack of help in this area, or you just don't know how that's going to work out, instantly you can be on that track. When you're looking at what's going on in your life, if you're letting what's going on outside and it's not really positive, then you're going to start to doubt and worry. Now this is automatic. And you were raised by people that did this. You'll say, oh, not my mother. Yeah, your mother. Okay? Now, I had a phenomenal mother, but I do know she did a lot of worrying. We are programmed to do this. Now, you don't just let the negative concept of doubt or worry rest in the consciousness. At warp speed, that's turned over to the emotional mind, and it sets up that uncomfortable feeling. And fear sets in. Fear is a very, very destructive emotion. And when we impress an idea upon the universal mind, it must be expressed with and through the body. Must be. Not sometimes. Every time it's expressed. You see, the emotional mind is in every molecule of your being. So it controls the vibration that you're in. And the fear manifests on a physical plane as anxiety. Now, a lot of people are living in a very anxious state, and they don't know how to stop it. They do not understand what we're talking about here. They don't have that image. Yet it's so easy to start worrying about your business or about your kids or about yourself or your relationships or just a business in general. It's so easy, and this happens so fast. You know, we look at it slow because we just flip it slow. But the truth is, it just flies through us. That anxiety is not expressed. It's not expressed. It's suppressed. We suppress anxiety. We don't express it, we suppress it. Now that's very important that we understand this. And the expression then turns to depression. So I used to watch, every now and then, I'd watch Larry King when he was on TV on a regular basis. And he frequently had Mike Wallace on from 60 Minutes, and Mike Wallace is gone now, but Larry would have him on talking about depression. Mike Wallace apparently suffered from a lot of depression. And the two of them would talk about it as if they didn't have any idea what it was. Didn't know how to solve it. All the people that suffer from depression. I know exactly what depression is. That's exactly what it is. It's anxiety being suppressed. Now, body in motion remains in motion until acted on by an outside force. If you got that energy going that way, it keeps going that way. Yet, for some strange reason, when we get in a negative vibration, we don't just quickly switch it. We can stay in it sometime for quite a while. And the depression turns to disease. That's why St. Clair Lewis one time said, we don't die, we kill ourselves, we just do it so slow, we don't recognize it as a form of suicide. You see? And the disease, of course, to disintegration, is we just break down. Now, all that, if you stop and think, that happens so fast, you will go from the thought to anxiety at warp speed. Just happens so fast. It's not something you're boom, 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 boom. Stop and think of when you turn the lights on. Look at all these lights. Now, there's not a switch for every one of these lights. There's only one switch, probably. And you throw one switch, they all go on. The power flows in, and it goes right through all the wires, hits all these lights at warp speed. And it's nothing compared to the central nervous system. So when you start doubting and worrying, man, you're just on a fast track to a bad place. Now, the more we understand this, the more we will have a tendency to stop it. So how do we stop it? We stop it through understanding. See, the opposite of doubt and worry is understanding. Let's understand how we function. Let's understand who we are. Let's understand the natural laws of the universe. Let's understand when power flows into our consciousness, it just is. It has no form. It's neither positive or negative. It is a pure, unadulterated creative power, and we can make out of it anything we want. Our problem is we live to our senses and we let what's going on outside dictate where we're going. If the indicators are negative, we don't think positive. Why? Because we're not operating with the proper understanding. Now, the only way to get understanding, the only way, there's no other way, is through study. The more you study, the more you're going to understand. We've got to understand how we function. We've got to understand the relationship of the mind to the rest of us. This is so important, and it's so misunderstood. Now, you see, understanding leads to faith. There's no fear when that power flows in, and it manifests as well-being. Now, this works on just as fast on this side as it does on the other side. And the faith expresses itself as well-being. The well-being is not suppressed, it's expressed. And because it's expressed, it picks up speed, it accelerates. Why? We're not in a diseased state, we are at ease. You put yourself at ease. That's why Arash was saying that if you're experiencing stress, you got the wrong mindset. You got to put yourself in a very cool state. Peter was asking me, he said, do you get stressed? And I said, no, I don't. If I feel myself going that way, I'll stop it immediately. Now, I've been playing with this for a long time. But you can play with it for a long time. And the trick is to keep doing this and do it every day, because there's no end to what we're capable of doing. We are God's highest form of creation. There's nothing on the planet that will equal you or me. Nothing. We have been given powers that no other form of life has so far as we know. But if you study the way people live, you would think they have no idea about that, and the truth is most of them don't.
I hope you enjoyed this video. We put a lot of good information up here, and it causes everything in your life to get better. If you'd like us to notify you every time we put a new video up, hit subscribe and then turn on notification. Check out all our videos, and we will notify you when we put a new one up.